final speaker of the day is Joseph Shumacher, who is the Director of Organizational Development and Training at the RDOG Group. So Joseph graduated from high school in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and spent 24 years in the Army. He attended college at Texas A&M and graduated with a BS in wildlife biology and a minor in education. He spent the next 20 years in command and staff positions as armor officer. He was selected to lead a task force during Desert Storm, and he retired as a lieutenant colonel. He received a master's in education psychology from Western Kentucky University, and he was recruited out of the Army to lead the training effort in Anchor Glass. Having spent the last 25 years in operational leadership and training positions in glass manufacturing, his focus for 2019 and 2020 has been individual technical skill improvement, apprenticeships, other skill positions within the hourly ranks, incumbent worker programs, and supervisory training in both technical and leadership skills. He has worked extensively with plants in Southern New Jersey through 3 different companies. So it is my pleasure at this time to introduce Joseph.
Thank you very much, Sandra. I appreciate the opportunity, and I always enjoy coming to New Jersey, even if it's just virtually. If we can go to the next slide, please. A quick overview on AWDA. We are the preferred packaging partner to the world's leading brands, such as Campbell's Soup, which still has cans, their material in cans and bottles and not plastic. Having material in metals and attempting to sell them and looking at them as a partner versus a competitor is a new thing for AWDA US. We're glass and metal containers, and we provide food, beverage, beer, and spirit containers. A big thing that we've been pushing on since I've been with AWDA is to provide an inspirational environment to our people. Most people don't look at the shop floor, one of our manufacturing plants, as an inspirational environment, but we've been doing a lot trying to get iPads on the floor, more computer technology, more capabilities, and more interaction with the people to ensure that an inspirational environment can be had, that your voice can be heard, even if you're that new person on the floor in basically an aging workforce. We are pushing innovative and sustainable value and products in our material. Both our cans and our bottles are 100% recyclable, and we push recycling, being in recycling events all across the world. Worldwide, we have 7 billion in sales, 98 production facilities in 24 counties, and we're number 2 in glass worldwide. And next, please. And we're number 2 in the United States. We have 13 glass facilities in 11 states, a total of 45, just over 4,500 employees, of which about 300 of them are in the great state of New Jersey at our Bridgeton plant, one of our model plants, and one that we have decided that is going to stay with us for the long term. We just put in a major improvements in the plant, new machines, new furnace, new optical sorting and inspection equipment. We're there for the long term. We've brought them into the fold, and they are one of us. We work with the Department of Labor on apprenticeship programs. We're federally recognized. We have 6 different occupations, and we currently have close to 300 apprentices in the Rapids database. The areas where I've been working on is getting state recognition and also registration of the apprenticeship programs at each of our states. That gives us a terrific benefit in linking up with local learning institutions, and we've done that more and more in each of the states, and I'll talk about what we've done in New Jersey later on. We've worked extensively with workforce development boards, and again, I'll talk in detail on that in New Jersey later on. And then I've also been working on career paths, both coming into and moving through our company, and internal learning and how we can support that. Next, please. How COVID-19 has affected us? Well, we're We're an essential manufacturing company. We've been running full speed since March. It's been very interesting. In January and February, we went through a reduction in force on manpower. We also decreased one of our main products in our furnace and to pick up on recycled glass, um, both of which had a dramatic effect once COVID hit. We we saw a slight pickup in glass food containers, but we saw also a dramatic drop in beverages. We had a dramatic drop in cullet, which is a recycled glass, and that had a double effect because that increased our demand demand on other raw materials, which were also going through a very difficult time. So that posed one of the biggest challenges to us, is to keep that supply chain working, getting the material in to make the glass, and then in the plant keeping us up at full production. Everybody, and I want to say everybody jumped in just terrifically as we worked through the COVID. Um, we had worked with, we've been working with headsets for our production end, noise canceling, and able to talk to somebody without screaming in their ear. Those were deployed. We set up cleaning, testing stations, worked our shifts differently, and really pushed through until recently. We've just seen now a increase in the number of people affected in our plants, and we're trying to figure out why now. I think we kind of let our guard down a little bit, but we're cranking that back up so that we don't lose, don't lose more people, and don't and can maintain the production. The big point was that many of our senior employees who were at the point of retiring but said they would stay on, both on the shop floor and in our corporate, left early because it was safer. That created a trickle effect, and we pushed to get new team members into our company and getting them assessed, trained, and retraining them as they moved up into positions and tried to either stay with us or leave became very difficult. Even though unemployment is up, it's still a battle for quality. We have the same problems now at 13%, greater than 10% unemployment, that we did at 3%, getting good quality people into our plants for the first time. Next slide, please. Our critical pathways: manufacturing and industrial knowledge, and willingness to work. Our problem is not new pathways, but getting the new employees in old pathways. Electrical knowledge in our mechanical jobs is a critical need, and our critical pathways are the machine operator, machine repairer, electromechanical, and line quality inspector. We have apprenticeship programs in 3 of the 4. We're looking at setting up a apprenticeship program in our line quality inspector. And as several people mentioned before me, the critical shortfall we experience is getting people willing to work in a manufacturing environment, getting them in the door the first time and keeping them. That's been difficult before COVID, and it's become even more difficult since COVID. Next slide, please. Critical skills and competencies. And it was interesting that was mentioned earlier that they consider them essential skills now. And what we call them is critical skills. We were talking, I was at a summit in Louisiana, and we talk about the critical skills that people need: integrity, responsibility, accountability, verbal communications, being able to talk to somebody face to face, being responsible to come to the job day in and day out. In a plant we had in North Carolina, we had to shut down a furnace 3 shops, about 105 people. We ended up hiring close to 300 people to fill those 105 slots, and only 4 or 5 of them were fired by us. The rest of them just never showed back up. Many people think that iPhone skills are computer skills, that they are not, and trying to teach people who think they know computer skills has been a real a focus for us. The basic mechanical thought process, we administer the Ramsey Mechanical Aptitude Test. In a plant that we had in the Midwest, we had 37 people take the test and not one of them passed it against the national average. One thing we are doing is in our apprenticeship programs, uh, putting them and tying them in with a community college. We have a work process schedule and a related instruction schedule that we tie in with the community college. He gets good training, and at the end of his 4,000 or 8,000 hours, gets a journey person card at the end, which is nationally recognized. He's tied in with a community college, so at the end of the 4 years, which is the normal time it takes him to get it, he gets a degree at the end. And at the end of the 2 or 4 years, instead of being 60,000 or more in debt, he's making 60,000 plus a year. If we can get the person and talk to him about that early enough, and again, I echo what was said earlier, this has got to start, in 8th grade, 9th grade, beginning in high school, that you don't need that 4-year college degree, that you can go into an apprenticeship program. I have a daughter that graduated from Texas A&M. She's still paying off her college debts. I have a son that became an apprenticeship in the pest control business, and he is making an amount equivalent to her, and he does not have the debt that she has going forward. So he should be banking it, but he is only 20 something, so it's probably going out the window, but at least it's not going to pay debt. Next slide, please. Okay, where do we go from here and focus at New Jersey? I tell you, if every state was like New Jersey was, my job would be a whole lot easier. I just went through an unbelievable deal with a neighbor of yours that's to the west that begins with P, which will remain nameless. But to get there, the apprenticeship programs recognized and register in that state, and working with the people there was much more difficult. We worked with Rowan Community College. I think the correct name is the Rowan Community College, South New Jersey, Cumberland campus, and they were terrific. I showed them our related instruction that we have for our electromechanical, had Joe in there with the Dean of Instruction at the Cumberland campus. We set up a framework that people will start. We were supposed to start the cohort last spring, but because of COVID, we did not. I'm looking at starting that in January. It was a terrific relationship. Our apprentices now are going to go through a real apprenticeship program, a work process, a related instruction tied in with the community college, and then at the end of the period, they will have a associate's degree plus their journeyman person's card. The community college is tied in with the VOTEC for the high school there. Our HR manager and our facility engineer went there to see what everything was all about, and were really impressed with the campus and the training aids and simulations they had. And they saw a young man standing there who was going through the class, so they started talking to him. He showed that he had the mechanical aptitude. He was working through the mechanical courses at the VOTEC school. We didn't hire him on the spot. We set him up to interview at the plant, and he interviewed the plant, and he's now one of us working in the plant, going to be one of the apprentices in our system. And to me, that's the way it should work. Uh, the I work extensively with development boards, and I tell you, and I don't think she's on here, but Christy DiLeonardo is just, she and her team were fantastic. She tied me in with Joe and John, and um, we went from there. It was a terrific exercise. Um, One thing I throw out to the people who can affect change, um, plant, plants that are in states that have a active incumbent worker training program and dollars available, um, is terrific. It gives us the benefit uh, of getting that person, that good person in the plant, seeing how he is or he or she is, and then getting money to train them into our specialty areas. We're kind of just as all the manufacturers talked before me, we're in a niche. The pre-employment training on the hard skills is something, or the critical skills is something that the person has and needs, but we need to get that good body in and train them up on our skills. And the best way to do that is the incumbent worker training program. And as discussed earlier, with the apprenticeship programs registered in the state and the tie-in with the workforce development boards and the community colleges, we can pay our apprentices one way or another for either attending the school or while they're doing the on-the-job training, which gives us a great benefit, and it allows us to do training without spending twice as much on our funding. The last thing I'll kind of throw out is, it's a stretch goal, but it'd be terrific if if somewhere in the community college system in South Jersey, they have a glass manufacturing forming operator or glass manufacturing course curriculum, so that we could get some training in those areas outside the plant, and have those apprenticeship programs be working towards uh, an associate's and also a more formal approach to it. We currently have the related instruction trained in-house. I'm not sure if that's going to continue, but something like that would be really, there's enough glass manufacturers in southern New Jersey still, I think, to support that. So that's my pitch. I really appreciate having the time. I can't wait to get back there. Just my wife is from Camden, New Jersey, and like stated earlier, I kind of have my roots in eastern Pennsylvania, so we love coming back there, and I love coming back there and working with the plants and the people there. They've been terrific, and a special thanks to Joe and Mark, Sandra, Christy, and all the people who have made this an enjoyable experience for me. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.